series of 7-minute talks featuring a few very interesting participants here. We're going to start with Calli Marshall from Eckerd College Farm. Each participant has 7 minutes, so I'll have the timer here. As your time goes down, you'll be able to see it. I will give you a reminder by clapping once it ends, and we all have to clap together and celebrate Calli's talk as she exits the stage and welcomes our next speaker is Laura Oldanie. So on deck. Here you go, Calli.
Hello, everybody. So I was just the moderator for the Intergenerational Wisdom panel, which I was really excited. Learned some great information. But a little bit about me is I'm a student from Eckerd College. I work there as one of the student farm ambassadors. So essentially my job is to be the educational liaison between the Eckerd College Farm and the Eckerd College student body. It's really a relationship that I have a lot of pride in. And so there's kind of a two-pronged approach that my job includes. And number one, that's giving tours. So last year we were able to host over 400 of our Eckerd College students out on the farm, and that was for class tours as well as for work days. And every time we have a class come out to the Eckerd College Community Farm, we try really hard to connect the information that they're learning in their class to the work they'll be doing out on the farm. So earlier this week I had a modern British literature class out there, and I was given the opportunity to lead their work day, and so we were looking at the ways that nature is represented in literature and how that actually differs from the physical manifestations of nature. That's just one of the examples of some of the classes that enter our farm, and that was over this last semester we were excited to have over 13 different disciplines represented on the farm out of those 400 students. And so we also give tours to different community groups. For example, I know we did Business and Farms. We've done a lot of work with the Edible Peace Patch program, a lot of different programs that many of you guys are a part of. We also host tours for them. And the other part of my approach is tabling and really getting the word out. So doing events like this and really teaming up with my community members is how I'm able to execute that last prong of my job. And as a college student, that can be difficult. I'm pretty much a newcomer. As I'm only a sophomore in college, I'm not from the area, it makes it kind of difficult. So I'm really excited for events like this which allow me to do that. A little bit more about myself, I come from Mississippi. I come from a very intense agriculture region. And so when I went to college, I didn't really find my passion at first. And I was really interested in the ways that I could take my knowledge that I learned from home and really implement that into my college education here in St. Petersburg. I was introduced to the Eckerd College Community Farm last year, just going for one of my classes. And I was really excited to be given the opportunity to volunteer out there. And then I teamed up with our faculty farm director, Dr. Himmelfarb, which many of you probably are good friends with. And so I was given the opportunity to become a student farm ambassador. And for me, having that position really allows me to complete my professional goals. Many of you guys are involved in agriculture in many different ways, but as professions. And so I'm also hoping to do that with my own life story, is to be able to work in the agriculture scene, whether that's here, whether that's in Mississippi. But programs like these allow me to take the information and really implement it into what I'm learning in school, but also being able to take that to other places. And so I'm really lucky to have that experience here. And so a little bit more about our farm. We currently are an educational farm. We also subscribe to the terms of organic, sustainable, and we also do have several regenerative and permaculture practices that we currently have. So we do have an educational area where we introduce classes, and we're going to start there, and we'll introduce what the farm is, how long it's been running, and kind of the management there. And just for some context, the Eckerd College Community Farm was started back in 2010 by a group of students who were aiming to have a place to express themselves. So they subscribe to the terms of expressing, engaging, and experimenting. So they started by literally just planting trees out in this blank field, and it has turned into the Eckerd College Community Farm, which is a 1-acre farm situated between a couple of baseball fields, actually. And it's grown up from there, and today we employ 18 student workers who are working through the federal work study program, and so that they're able to help pay some of their college tuition by working at the farm and also receive some sort of income as well. So, and we also have 3 student farm ambassadors. One of them is myself, and then we also have our farm manager, who is Maggie Jensen, an alum of Eckerd College, and many of you may know, who's worked in agriculture in the St. Pete area for the last 10 years. And so that's the educational part of the farm is really our heart and soul, but so is our student farm workers who actually really allow the farm to keep running. Another big program we have is our harvesting program. So out of the 1 acre, about half of that is dedicated to actually growing food. So we have 4 beds that have many different species and varieties of plants, and every Thursday morning, 5 student employees work to harvest the crops that are ready, and we actually send that to our cafeteria. So it's a contract that we've made with our cafeteria where they will pay us for anything that we do harvest. So right now it's a lot of dark leafy greens like collards, and so recently we have a lot of dishes featured as stir fries and soups and things like that. And when students enter the cafeteria at Eckerd College, they can look for the Eckerd College farm logo, and it actually lets them be able to have some independence in their choice about where they're choosing to get their food from. It's a really important value of the Eckerd College farm is food sovereignty. And I know it's close to many of your hearts as well, and so it's really important for us to be able to provide the opportunity for students to have that independence in their decision about where they're getting their food from. It's also considered local as well. Our cafeteria aims to produce, to collect their produce from 50% from local areas, and so we add into a lot of that. And then we also run a composting program at Eckerd College. So all of our dorm complexes have composting bins that students are able to put their waste into. We do compost vegetables as well as eggs and meat at our composting program. And we also pick up all the compost waste from the cafeteria. So last year we were able to divert about 3,000 pounds from the Eckerd College food waste stream and put that into our composting program. And the current one that we have takes about a month to take it from solid food waste to compost that we're able to use then on our crops. We also have a couple different programs with clubs at the Eckerd College Community Farm because student engagement is really the heart of what we do there. So we currently have spaces for the Garden Club, which is the original starter of the Eckerd College Community Farm, as well as the Ethnobot and Tea Club. So they're aiming to have cultural conversations while also drinking tea. So we're really excited to have them out there. They introduce a lot of different people into the space, and really it's the first step of getting people out into the Eckerd College Community Farm is introducing them through clubs, and then we keep them around for a little bit longer. And we more recently are introducing a bee club, which we're really excited about to increase our pollinators in our area. So that's just a little bit about my job on the Eckerd College Community Farm, and I'm really excited to kind of share that with you. If you're interested in having your organization tour our farm, you can look us up on Instagram. We're the EC Community Farm, or you can visit at the Eckerd College website and just search farm at the top. We'd be happy to have anybody come out. We can also have hosting spaces. So I know SUAC recently had their February meeting out at the Eckerd College Community Farm, and we also provide us a training space for Edible Peace Patch out there. So if any of your organizations are looking to host an event out at the farm, that's a great place to do it. So yeah.
Nice job. Thank you. Thank you, Calli. All right, right on time. Oh, there's the alarm. 7 minutes up. Okay, next up we have the famous Laura with speaking about decentralized intentional communities. So take the stage. Is this a good level for you?
I think, yeah.
Get a little closer if you want.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, decentralized intentional communities. I think a lot of us if we've come to a Regenerate Tampa Bay event, we're probably familiar with this concept of intentional communities, co-housing, eco-villages. How do we live in community and have those more intentional interactions with each other? Well, some of us, may be in a situation where we're not able to move into an intentional community or haven't found the one yet that aligns, with the practices and values that we want to live with regularly. And so this idea of a decentralized intentional community, it's not an idea that was original to me. It was actually something that I heard about from another friend in the permaculture space who kind of envisioned this and was hoping to create something like that for herself. And I started talking about this idea with other friends who are very interested in intentional communities, but again, aren't at that point yet where they can uproot themselves or haven't found the ideal intentional community yet. And I own my own home, and I would have started planting my food forest and envisioning my retirement and aging with grace and dignity there. So I don't envision uprooting myself, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to find ways to be more intentional and have those deeper relationships and connections. And so as I said, I started talking about this with another friend who was interested, a couple, and then there's my boyfriend Albert, who Garden Grandpa. He was part of these conversations, and we have another set of friends, a married couple with young children, and we just got together and had a conversation around what would it look like. How could we be more intentional with our interactions and create this kind of decentralized, intentional community for ourselves? We all live in St. Pete. We live within 2 miles of each other, which is very important for Albert and me because we ride our bikes so much, so it can be, quick and easy. It's accessible on our bikes. And we realized in that first conversation, we're all familiar with permaculture, we're all interested in resilience and growing our own food. So we decided that, we weren't looking to sit down and brainstorm, what are all the vision and the mission and the, not rules, but agreements, but we just wanted to get moving with something. So we started with the food and processing and preserving food. And we decided we'd get together once a month. We started by pickling the bumper avocado crop that one of the households had. We got together at Christmas time and all brought together our herbs and packaged them up into teas for gifts. And so we did much better early on at getting together once a month, but it was also then leading to other things. Albert has babysat for the family with young kids. We've actually ended up adding another family to the mix that also has young children and is also interested in growing their own food and also happens to live within 2 miles of all of this. And so, what Koreen said earlier about, intentional communities, but we don't even know our neighbors. We don't even start where we're at. And this is a little bit beyond my block, but it still keeps it, relatively local, and it makes it much more conducive to those interactions. And, we got together somewhat spontaneously on New Year's Day. We potlucked together. We've gone to the beach together. We went to Wendell and Nancy's and camped together, and, in their citrus grove. And we have just been like, someone texts and says, let's have a bonfire this weekend. We got it. We were really good at the beginning about once a month, let's get together and do something around food preservation. And that has petered off, but we've still kept the relationships and the connections. And Albert, if some of you heard Albert talk earlier, today we do a lot of dumpster diving, and so then if we have a bumper crop of, a lot of yogurt or some kind of food, that's another distribution channel for us, is our decentralized intentional community. And it really has deepened our connections and our relationships. It does lend to more resilience. You have more people you can call on and ask for help, or more people to, distribute your surplus to. And we've brought Desiree into one of our more impromptu bonfires, and so we're really our largest limitation, especially when we're doing the food processing, is just the space. We can only convene so many people together to be in someone's kitchen processing avocados, or in someone's backyard without trampling everything and having lots of kids around and having enough equipment and tools to do things. But it has been a really wonderful way for us to come together and not give up, not feel like, I can't have that intentional community because I don't have a way to go live in a community that already exists. We're creating this decentralized version on our own.
Beautiful. Well, you have another minute.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
I can answer a question if anyone has one.
How do I join?
You're already in.
Yeah, I'm curious what was the initial inspiration? Like when you said you had that conversation, did it really just happen organically? Like, what if we did this? Or was it?
Well, I knew that the other couple that I originally had the conversation with, Hal and Liza, they've traveled around the country visiting intentional communities. It's very much a part of something that they want eventually, but they haven't found the intentional community for them yet. So it was like, okay, let's do this in the interim. I also think this is you know, even if you want to go on and live in an intentional community eventually, this is such good practice. You know, it's community is hard. We think it's so beautiful. It's like, I want community. Community often struggles, you know, that struggles over a clash of personality, over finances. So this is just I really think this is important for lots of people to do before they move into an intentional community, is just to find these, you know, low-hanging fruit, less commitment ways to do it. Albert.
All right, next up we have Fatima and Alex from 813 Hood Garden. Oh, okay, you guys are gonna take the stage. I'm gonna get myself off.
We're ready. Thank you. All right, 7 minutes. Awesome. Starts? Yeah. Okay. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? Hello. All right, so my name is Fatima. This is Alex. And we're here to talk to you about just being in community. So we do a lot of community work. We work with several organizations, groups, nonprofits, neighborhoods throughout Hillsborough County. We think of sustainability as a very holistic issue. It's interconnected. So we do a lot. Every day. So community is not a 9 to 5. If you're in community work, you know it's a way of life. So we want to talk to you guys about two organizations that are local in the area that we work with that we think are a perfect example of that. So one of our, two of our community leaders that should be here speaking, about their initiatives, about their visions, aren't going to be able to be here today. So we're going to try our best to represent them as best as possible. We have some of their words, but please know it is not Alex or I that are in charge of either of these movements. So that's the 813 Hood Garden movement and the Tampa Heights Junior Civic Association.
So I'm just going to start a little bit with 813 Hood Garden background. So Dee Morales is the steward of 813 Hood Garden, and she started it back in 2020. And she realized that when she looked at her son and she was gardening with her son at her house, she saw how excited he got seeing the berries grow from the plant, seeing it bud, and then all the way to like, oh, can I eat it, can I eat it, can I eat it now? And eating it fresh off the vine instead of having it processed. And we all know that like our food travels on average of like 1,500 miles to reach our table. So she was just like, every kid deserves to have this garden experience. And she named it 81 Hood Garden because it's South University area, and a lot of people don't have a walkable grocery, let alone a garden. So it's right on where, like, it's right in the community that really, really needs it. Today we are tired because we had so many events. We had a food ambassador program this morning, we had yoga in the garden, and we had someone come out to do a Build-A-Bed workshop. From Blue Steel Farms, right? Big Steel Farms. Yeah, so it's just great to talk to you all tonight. Dee wishes that she could be here, but as always, she's our fearless leader. Yeah, she's otherwise occupied, but the mission and the vision of both 813, and we do have a garden at Tampa Heights Junior Civic, is to give kids in marginalized communities that don't have access to fresh food the tools and the knowledge to grow their own food.
So I think that's a perfect segue. So a lot of the issues facing communities of color, we all know, are environmental injustice related. So a lot of our kids that we serve, almost all of them have asthma, or someone in their family has asthma, for example. It's super prevalent. In Tampa Heights, our backyard is the highway. They have disseminated multiple homes. They have pushed people out. They continue to push people out today. It's getting impossible to live there. Our kids are suffering from a lack of access to food, multiple health issues, academic and behavior-related issues associated with their diet. So we know that having access to fresh food is important. I was just getting excited because we brought some snow peas over to the kids the other day, and they literally, like, to them, it's like, screw it, Takis. Like, I want a fresh snow pea, like the crunch of it, the excitement of it. So when we talk about, like, that's the moment, Dee had it with her son, we have it every week with our kiddos, of seeing the excitement of something go from seed all the way to plant. Seeing them die, seeing what happens when a doesn't, kind of asking yourself why, kind of the process that goes through it. Oh my God, our strawberry. Okay, let's take 3 different bites. Okay, what could we turn this into? Having the kids explore, we have them do entrepreneurship. So how could you explore, growing food not only to enjoy it yourself or with your loved ones, but how could you have it to create a business so that you can also teach others, you can grow food, you can be part of the systemic issue that we know is our food system and access to nature in general. So that's something that we've been really working with 2 of these organizations with. They have been leading it. Like I said, it's been a full-time job. Actually, we're here in Town and Country. We have a thriving garden program at Town and Country Elementary and the community garden that's right down the street next to the cafe. Shout out to Scott, who has been running that and growing it and making it beautiful. So it takes all of us. So I hope just throughout, everything that you guys talk about, anything that you read, anything that you connect with each other on, we remember that it's us that do it. It's us that do it day in and day out. You don't clock out. It's not a job. It's a way of life. It needs to start in community in order for us to really be able to do anything. So I appreciate, everybody coming together today, talking together, connecting together, and I think that's everything.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
We know that
simple.
when we nurture the soil, when we nurture the earth, we nurture our food and we nurture our kids. And that is really the goal that Miss Lena founded Tampa Heights Junior Civic like 28 years ago. Is it really starts with our youth. They know what to do, and we put a lot of burden on our youth, but we know that when we wrap around them with all of these services, we have behavioral health services, we have garden education, we have civic engagement, that we really can set them up to do the best that they can do. So
yeah, and be there consistently with them, and have I guess how much more time do you have? You might as well. Say less. We can talk about the power of youth. So that's something that we're very, 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 very passionate about. We are youth considered in some definitions from 15 to 29. I think we old. The kids right now are with it. They really understand what the issues in their community are. Our kids in Town and Country have re-envisioned Hanley Avenue to be a complete street that sequesters water, combats the urban heat island effect, has production for free food, has wide spaces for people to play and enjoy, has art that tells the story of Town and Country. So our kids are awesome. I think if you haven't had the chance to talk with a kid about anything, I mean, obviously we're here right now because we care about nature and the environment. So have a conversation. What do you want to see? Kids are unbounded. They really are. That's the best way. And when you can read in between and kind of use our realistic brains on what's feasible, what's not feasible, but use their creations with community, to co-create these visions all together. It can't be something that we've seen a lot in the sustainability movement is people coming in and kind of telling, especially people of color, what you think should be or should not be something that's environmentally correct. But if we start with community, that's really the baseline we want to drill, whether that's our residents, our leaders, our elders, our youth, highlighted, bolded, circled, our youth, because they're the ones that are going to be able to either benefit from everything that we co-create together with their visions. As you said, they're the ones who are going to live with it, or the burden. So really take the time. I challenge you guys, if you take anything from this, talk to your neighbor, talk to a kid, branch out of the people that you talk to every day, and then try to co-create how we can create this movement together. How are we? It's good?
Thank you.
All right. Next up, the alarm's going off now. We have Koreen Brennan, but I believe she left. Okay. So next up, Kayla Caselli, City of Tampa. Beautiful. Hello. All right, I'll keep the timer right here. Here you go.
All right. Hey everyone, welcome. So I'm Kayla Caselli. I work for the City of Tampa as a sustainability coordinator, and today I really wanted to use my time to talk as kind of a call to action, right? So in the City of Tampa, there are 3 people who are dedicated to sustainability and resilience as their full-time positions. That's out of 4,000 employees serving 400,000 residents. If we're to believe that 3 people are going to solve all the issues and weave sustainability and resilience into every decision and every action that the City of Tampa does, then we're not on the right path, to say the least. So what we really need to rethink is, I think, in some ways, civic engagement. We need this community to come out and to talk and not preach to the choir. Today we're preaching to the choir. We share these beliefs. We're here because we have that community. But we need to also be talking to people who do not have those beliefs, who don't have that community, and kind of shine some light on them in order to illuminate maybe that there's a better way to do something. What inspired me, I guess, to kind of talk about it is growing up, I mean, at least for me, and I think many people share this sentiment, we're taught that the best way you can do civic engagement is the federal government. You know, we learned about the 3 branches of government. We learned that voting for the president is the most important thing that you can do in your civic duties, and I'm here to tell you that is not the case. Local government is the most important part of government that you should be having an active voice in. We are the ones who shape the cities that you live in. We are the ones who decide where to plant trees or what landscaping to use, what infrastructure to prioritize or not. And of course, albeit with a very limited budget, the federal government can print money. We cannot do that. So, you know, it's extra challenging at this level, but this is why it deserves this community to come out. It's good stuff. Woo, Fatima, yeah. And youth, you know, let's actually take a page out of the talk that was given. So 100%, I want all of the youth engagement, but the decisions are being made today. And so we need the adults to show up as well. And I know we all bear a lot of responsibility in this modern world. Giving up time, you know, on a weekend or on your day off is a big ask, right? Especially like parents, dear God, I don't know how you do it. But if we organize and come together and share that community, share that burden and that responsibility, I believe that it's more doable. You know, we need to lean on each other in order to do this, because if we just turn a blind eye and pretend that everything's going to be okay and someone else is going to solve all the issues for us, it's just sorely not the case. So I really invite you all, like, quick poll, who's ever, you know, been to a council or commission meeting? Okay, that's great. We have some civically engaged people in here. I love it. That's probably not the case if I asked in many rooms. Do you know which jurisdiction you live in? If you raised your hands, you probably do, right? Who's your commission or elected council members? Like, these are information that the average person doesn't know. I mean, all the time people come and they're like, oh, I live in Tampa, Florida. And I'm like, but do you live in the city of Tampa? And they're like, yeah, my address says Tampa, Florida. And I'm like, that's not the same thing. And so just having that baseline information, you know, can really, really help you advocate for yourself at this level. And you know, I kind of told, shout out to the Green Team, they're our AmeriCorps members from the city of Tampa. I told them I'm not big in New Year's resolutions, but I told them one of my New Year's resolutions was I wanted to kind of go out on this tour to invite people to be civically engaged, because, you know, Carl's our energy manager, Whit is our sustainability officer. Like, we need your help. We need people to be highlighting that the work that we're doing to make sure that everyone in the city is weaving sustainability and resilience to everything we do. I mean, they're mandated in some ways, you know, by the mayor, but we cannot be there at every moment when every decision is being made. And as one of the fastest growing cities in America, there are a lot of decisions that are being made right now that are gonna, you know, set the stage for the next few decades, that we need to make sure that we're heading in the right direction. So I think that's all I've got. Please be civically engaged.
You have 2 more minutes.
Yeah.
Open up Q&A.
Yeah, Q&A. Anyone have any questions? Or I can talk about some of the programs that we have, if that's no question. Okay.
I was gonna say,
Please.
I've also been getting involved with like local chapters.
Yes.
There's the St. Pete, there's Tampa Chamber
Yeah.
of Commerce.
Yes.
There's various entities within the municipalities that then directly feed into civic engagement.
Right.
So because it can feel isolating and alone, like,
Yeah.
how do I get involved? So I've been very inspired by how much civic engagement can come from getting involved in groups like this.
Absolutely. There are a lot of local chapters. There's even local chapters of bigger organizations, right? Like there's the Thousand Friends of Florida, who Fatima and I have talked about a lot, and they focus more at the state level, and they're more active in some counties or not. But you know, if there was a big enough voice in Hillsborough County, maybe they would dedicate, you know, more time to being here if there's more of that grassroots level. There's these, you know, big powerhouses of civic engagement and lobbying happening at the federal level and at the state level. Maybe there are some chapters that could be created. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel, just get involved in something that you're passionate about. And like I said, don't try, like I think doing it alone is probably not the best way. Watching councils is exhausting and long. They're not efficient in any way, shape, or form. Agendas come out, every other Tuesday. So, I mean, things are happening every day. And so if we try to take this on as 1 or 3 people, I mean, you're going to be worn down unless this is your full-time gig.
What's like the most ambitious moonshot project of Tampa in sustainability?
Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see, we were trying to plant 30,000 trees by 2030, so it's pretty ambitious. I would say we have some stuff behind the scenes, like we're trying to do more RNG, renewable natural gas for our wastewater treatment plant. So there are some, grants in the pipeline that we're trying to apply at the federal level. Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Very good message. All right. Next up, we have Dahveed speaking about Sociocracy. Got the stage.
Okay.
And you're also welcome to hold the mic and stand if you'd like.
Oh, okay. No, I think I'll sit.
There you go.
Thanks. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you today is revolutionary, and I'm so glad I'm following on the heels of this city person. What's your name again? Kayla? Yeah. Perfect, because the way we make decisions now, and have been for 2,500 years, we call it democracy, which means rule by the people, right? It's not rule by the people, as she just pointed out so well. It's a false democracy. It's really majoritocracy, because every decision is based on getting more people on your side than is on the other side, so that you can win and the other people will lose out. And what we need to do is make the world work for everyone, right? And how are we going to do that? We need to make our decisions in a way where everyone has a voice. And the best way for that is this way that I found out from permaculture, actually. 7 years ago, I took a permaculture course, and I almost missed it. There was one chapter that I was reading, and then, anyway, it said something about sociocracy, and I was like, what's that? And I looked into it, and so I've had a table. Some of you have come up to my table, and we've talked about this, but afterwards, I have a table with a book called Many Voices, One Song, and I have maps there. What we're doing with Regenerate Tampa Bay, this was the idea of Laura Ibrahim, and in talking with me and Ken Benway, what we realized, you heard Ken talk earlier today about how political boundaries are best done by the bioregions, right? So I have a map over there that shows the whole Tampa Bay area bioregion, and we are breaking out the subregions. Actually, there's 5 bioregions that feed into Tampa Bay. And but let me tell you more about sociocracy, because that's where it really, the rubber hits the road. So this is a true democracy where it works in circles, and there's a facilitator that's chosen by the group, and everybody agrees, okay, this person is the best person right now to be our facilitator. Or not necessarily the best person, but the person that wants the most practice or whatever. But somebody's chosen to be the facilitator. And the facilitator makes sure that nobody is too forceful or outspoken to the exclusion of other people, and the people that are shy and normally wouldn't speak their mind about something, that they're drawn out and everybody gets their input. And so it's all done by agreement and consensus. And sometimes it takes a little longer, but you've heard of filibustering in the Senate, right? Or the House, I guess. And so sometimes that's a long time filled up with just talk. I don't think that it has to take that long for us to come to an agreement. And if we can't come to an agreement, then we just don't take action on that item until it gets worked out and we come back and talk about it. I ran a retreat center up in Vermont for 2 years using Sociocracy, and it really works. And what else did I want to say about it? There's also a note keeper to make sure that the decisions that are made are written down somewhere, so that later on, if people forget what decisions we made, it's there in the record. And one important thing is that each circle has a purpose, and you can network these circles together. So there's always 2 people that are on both circles that are connected together. And so you can have a whole big network. So we plan to have circles, a circle that's for the whole Tampa Bay area, 1 circle, a central circle for each watershed or bioregion area, and then there will be many subcircles. Eventually, I think that the best way to break it down into sub-basins, and then the sub-basins break down into census tract groups, because it's an even population of about 4,000 people, give or take. And so we can start networking everybody together in the Tampa Bay area and have people participate. That's the big problem that we're dealing with, right, is participation. And so if we can get people talking and agreeing, then this can work to change the world. So it's really revolutionary. One question? Does anybody have one question about it? Yes.
The experience that you shared in Vermont, was that with every stakeholder of the project, like owners, employees, government, or everybody has to be at the same level?
In our case, we were renters of the building that we had the business in, but everybody that was participating in the business was part of the circle discussions. But it can also be broken down into smaller circles.
Thank you, Dahveed.
All right, thank you. So come to the table if you want to talk more about it.
Yes, lots of time to chat tonight. Next up, we have Capitan Rick Scolaro talking about Regeneration in Star Trek, a vision for the future.
Thank you so much, Tara, and it's a pleasure being here. Everyone mentions this title, this show, Star Trek. I'm just trying to figure out what exactly that is. I'm a time traveler from the 23rd century. The year by your calendar would be 2257. And life is much different for us. I've only arrived here today for a one-day stay, and I've been given special permission to temporarily suspend the temporal prime directive to come here and speak to you today and document this experience. Today, for us, marks a day when mankind first discovered a way that community and sustainability and regeneration could make a better future for humanity. And although the documentation process has been a little bit problematic, they gave me some very archaic machinery, which is ancient. Definitely, we have much nicer stuff in the future. And it's been a long day here at Sweetwater Farm. I think I haven't been this tired since probably 0G combat training in Starfleet Academy. And yeah, I'm very exhausted, but only so honored to be here today to talk to you about the future that begins here with you right now. And you may be thinking, what's this guy talking about? Why has he come all this way to be here to tell us about this monumental thing that we're doing? It doesn't seem like it's monumental right now. We're in this, you know, very poorly lit farm, and all of us are probably dirty and sweaty and ready to go home. I'll just speak for myself, I'm ready to go home. We have sonic showers in the future, and they do a much better job at water than water does. But in the future, technology exists that makes things zero waste. There is absolutely nothing wasted in the future. Technology has come along so far that we can convert energy directly to matter, utilize whatever we've created, and then recycle that directly back into energy. That is the principles that were created here today of sustainable, renewable energies, and simple things like composting and rainwater collection, the very roots of what permaculture is. Those are the ideas and concepts that pave the way to become, well, just an amazing future. And if you're here today and you're able to witness what's happening, just know that this is the ground floor. You're at the very beginning. And I can't say too much about specifics of the future, but there will be turmoil ahead. There will be strife ahead. And there will be some parts of the human condition that are not so pretty to look at, because we still suffer from that human condition. But there is a way out, and through, just know that also we are not alone. There is an interstellar coalition in the United Federation of Planets that we founded in roughly 2161. That consists of 985 billion souls across hundreds of worlds. And the partnerships that we've made in the very beginning, we have the same tenets today. We have mutual respect. We have one species brought an idea called the IDIC, or Infinite Diversity and Infinite Combinations, which is our true strength as a people. We embrace diversity, and through its very existence, makes us all stronger, makes us all able to survive the things that are coming. And it's not going to be pretty, but we're going to survive, and we will overcome the things that are ahead of us. Now, you may be thinking, what are the things that are coming? What am I to be afraid of? And I'm telling you, you don't have to be afraid. It's going to be okay in the end, and just continue to do what it is you're doing with all the sustainable energy work and permaculture that you're doing today. Keep on collecting that rainwater. Keep on composting. Keep on investing in solar energy. In the future, and I don't know if anyone here knows what the Kardashev scale is of civilizations. Well, it's basically the level of technology a civilization has of how much energy they can store and absorb from their environment. In my time, we are at type 2.2 on the Kardashev scale. We can harness and store the energy of multiple solar systems. Right now, in your time, we are at a 0.73. Not even a 1 on the Kardashev scale. we still cannot harness and store all the energy available to us, but we're going to get there. There are some things that I've read currently in your time that involve fusion and other forms of energy. And those are going to become very important in the near future. So if I have to leave you here today with something that you can take home with you and remember, it's that I want you to reach for the stars, because we are all made of stardust. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Rick. All right, next up, last but certainly not least, Lev. Speaking about Florida Fruit Co-op. Come on up here. I'm scared. Pasikhov.
All right. Well, I guess I was really inspired, but I had like a little bit of a spiel about the co-op. So I run basically it's not quite officially a co-op. I've been trying to make it a co-op for 3 years, but then today there was all this talk about like nonprofit, and so now I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm going in a different direction now. But basically what I've been doing lately is I've realized a community service, which is basically trying to provide access to the freshest fruit possible, which is like really hard to do actually, because there's so many moving pieces. And just like how many people sitting out there by show of hands have harvested a fruit in the last few days? That's probably the wrong crowd to ask this question. Because if you haven't, if you're buying a fruit at the store, it's likely probably like several months old, like not even weeks, like sometimes like 6 months or more, and they're just coming up with more and more technologies. Like there's something recently with, I forget what it's called, like the Bill Gates avocado. Yeah, like, they're making it so that they could spray it with stuff. It's beyond just shellacking oranges like we've been doing in Florida for several decades. We don't really even know what the effects are of the stuff they're spraying fruit with. And it's really hard to even for me, like hunting fruit for a living, basically, it's still really hard to find farmers that are not using sprays, and I can't have a functioning business and only do organic, for example. And I'm even realizing there's like a lot of times there's a choice of organic or local, and then you're talking, it's like a cost benefit, like, okay, you've got fossil fuels, it's coming from California, but it's organic, but this is from Florida, it's local, I know the farmer, he does spray, but he showed me the bottle, and I can, whatever it is. So there's this whole conversation around trying to get like nutrient-dense fresh fruits. That's what we do, is we harvest fruit for the week before I bring it to market, so that when you come to the market, like most of the fruit, like I'd say probably 70 to 80% of the fruit has been harvested that week in Florida, and then we have like a few imported exotic things like soursop or cacao pod or something like that. So the whole goal what we have right now is a subscription membership opportunity, so you could basically sign up to receive a box of, and the boxes are all only Florida stuff, a fresh Florida fruit that's been harvested that week, and pick it up in St. Pete. You could either do it weekly or bi-weekly, but it's like it's a way to guarantee that you're getting fresh, nutrient-dense fruit that's in season. Because everything that's in season is what our bodies need at that time. Usually there's, I don't know if it's called, I think it's called a doctrine of signature. No, that might be something else, but anyway, it just feels almost like common sense, like intuitive, like what's growing at that time in that area is like what our bodies need if we're going to live in that area, kind of back to the we are the habitat mentality. So right now we have the subscription service, and we take our fruit to market. For example, Terra, Wonderfield Farms, we harvest fruit there. We try to make as many connections with the local food scene as possible. And then we also have, so we have like on the consumer side, that co-op vibe of like we have people who, instead of like there's some co-op stores where people might pay like $50 a year and then become members. For us, we offer like a 10% savings on if you buy a box or sign up for the membership. And then on the operator side, basically we're trying to create a member ownership, or we have been working towards this member ownership framework where everyone who's working is also an owner. And that just makes it easier because the manager is getting managed by the people that he's supposed to manage. So it's like this full circle situation with co-ops where you're all owners, but I might be the manager, but my employees or the people I'm managing are also keeping me in check every few months and can actually vote me out of my position as manager. So that's where we've been going towards. Although today gave me like so many ideas that I'm like, wow, this is really like, we might have to redefine this as a community service, because one of the problems is like farms aren't making that much money, they're going out of business, it's not that profitable. There's a reason all the insurance companies are named like State Farm or Farmers Alliance or United Farmers. It's just not a good idea to like be a farmer if your only focus is profit, unless you're into commodity farming, and even then. Or strawberry farming. But of course there's all these externalities. So with that in mind, I'm starting to realize, this is like access to nutrient-dense food is becoming a community service, and we need to figure out how to create an alliance and collaboration between, a lot of the people that were here today on that food systems panel. So it's not just, I have a for-profit business, but it's more like, it's being supported by the community that the business itself is supporting. So I don't know if that's really an idea or just, I think we're just in the very formative phases of this idea of like how to make this happen, because it's definitely not something, I think there's a reason that you don't see very much quality out there, because it's just really hard to sustain, make a profit, and keep the quality of the product. Most of the fruit out there has been hybridized for shelf life and not flavor and not nutrition. So it's interesting. It's kind of where many roads meet, preserving the genetics of our food, the biodiversity of our food, preserving these small little hobby farms that are, maybe 5 acres or less, or even backyard farmers, or even people like Albert. If we have a lot of people like that, a lot of people growing the food, and, that's the goal of permaculture, is to have enough abundance to be able to even gift it. So, it's a little bit about the Florida Fruit Co-op. I have a box of pomelos and oranges I'm going to bring up here before you guys leave. You can grab some. Check out our website, floridafruit.co. And we're on Instagram, Facebook. If you're in St. Pete, we're going to be at a lovely little market tomorrow morning. The 49th Street Growers and Makers Market, and Saturday morning market. You can find us everywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed. And with that, Idea Hours are adjourned.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And now stick around for the sounds of Sunya.